What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today I've got 3 uploads for you. The first 2 are going to be my redo videos. If you remember, a couple episodes back I explained that my capture card kind of messed up 2 of the recordings for the series. The first of which was the latter half of Lost Bastille and the Lost Sinner boss fight, and the second video was going through Huntsman's Copse and killing the Skeleton Lords. Now I went ahead over the last couple days, leveled up a new character, and caught up to where I need to be. So today we're going to be clearing both those areas, and the last video I'll upload will just be the next regularly scheduled area that we'd be going through. So to start things off, obviously we are in the Lost Bastille here, and we are going to be taking out the Lost Sinner. So to begin with, just want to take out these 2 crossbow guys, and then we can move on. Now for this one up here, he's pretty easy to get if you have a bow or something, but if you have spells, there's actually this nice little trick with binoculars. You can free aim them, try to line him up in the middle of your screen, and then just cast your spells, and there you have it. Now I should mention at this point that I am actually going to be doing a post commentary today, because I ended up getting the video right this time, as you can see by what you're watching, but I forgot to turn on my mic for this first one. Back to normal with the next 2 episodes, but this one might be kind of weird. So basically in this area there's a whole bunch of dogs, and when you drop down you're going to be invaded, I suppose that's the right word for it, by the pursuer. Now I'm actually going to not kill him in this instance, because I find him super hard to beat with a caster. I don't know why. I find him a lot easier to fight with melee, but if you want, you can just kind of back out of the area, go back up the watchtower that we came down, right, that door just to my right there, and he will despawn. I don't know if you have to climb up the ladder in there or not, but pretty simple there. So whether you fight the pursuer or not, you have a couple more dogs to deal with, and in this little back corner here you have a really nice pickup. So this chest right here is actually located right behind Macduff's bonfire. You can kind of see it through a crack in the wall. Got another dog sneaking up on us here. Gonna go ahead and take him out. You can see the bonfire there, and behind it Macduff's workshop, or at least the doorway to it. But in this chest you get a large Titanite shard and an Estus flask shard, so make sure you pick that up. Moving on, you just want to make your way right the way across this area and smash down these wooden planks here. Now, dead ahead of us there's actually a guy behind that wall. Now I'm checking right here to see if I have a firebomb, because if you do, you can throw it at these barrels here, it'll explode and kill him through the wall. But you want to bait him out. He's kind of a nasty enemy. He'll do like a belly flop on the ground and explode. It does quite a bit of damage, and he's kind of hard to hit when he's on the ground too, and they can spam it pretty well. Now there are 2 more over here, and again, if you have a firebomb, you can throw it in here, hit those barrels, and at least one of them should die. And you can hear them kind of blowing up in there. One of them's going to make it out, and we're going to take him out. After that, go ahead and open this door and get into the courtyard here. We use the antiquated key for that. That's actually located right next to where you find Lucatiel in the Lost Bastille. So out here, if you hit this rock, you're going to bring up a cage with 3 more of those kind of exploding enemies. So do be careful of that. You don't really have to do it, but I did. So quickly take them out. The longer this fight takes, the more dangerous it's going to become. Kind of a close call there. Meant to hit that guy second, but we didn't. You get the whole Wanderer set. It's the starting set for the swordsman in this game, and I believe it's called the Swordsman in Dark Souls 1 as well, but exact same set. Pretty cool looking. I've always been a fan of it, but very lightweight, not too much in the way of defense. There are a couple of royal swordsmen in here, and we're going to take them out before we actually hop in there, since we do have some spells to deal with them. Now if you climb up this ladder right here, there is actually an item up top. You can kind of see into the next room as well there, and then you don't actually have to go back down this ladder. You can just drop down onto this platform here. Now if you notice this hole or the crack in the wall with the explosive barrel right in front of it, if you have a firebomb, which I don't, you can actually throw that at it and it will blow up the wall. However, you can use this little trick here. If you have a flame butterfly, light up a torch, and you can just swing at the barrel and it will explode. You'll obviously take some damage from it, but it blows a hole in the wall and you can get the item behind it. Get the Archdrake robes and the Archdrake shield. Now I check right here just to see, but the Archdrake shield actually doesn't have any like special qualities to it. I thought it did, but it's just kind of a neat looking shield. The Archdrake robes are actually the big like white and blue furry ones that the cleric starts with. So I mean, nothing too special there, just thought I'd point it out. It's kind of cool how you actually get to the item, I thought. Now there's one ninja in this room, and then other than that you just have a whole bunch of chests to open. So in this first one here, we're going to get the Twin Blade, the weapon type that was both born and died with Dark Souls 2. Kind of a dex weapon, fancy movesets, but usually not too good. There are a couple like variants of it. They're actually pretty good. Like there's the Red Iron Twin Blade in this game, which is more of a strength weapon if I remember correctly. It definitely hits a lot harder. It's not quite as fancy, but it's it hits really hard. I remember using that quite a bit. So right here, just a little quick demonstration of the Twin Blade. It swings a lot faster than this if you actually have the dexterity and strength to wield it, but I have neither. So I mean, like I said, kind of a cool moveset, but it's not the most functional thing in the world. So I personally never really used the regular Twin Blade. So last thing in this room, if you go through this doorway and open up this chest, that cage right there is actually going to serve as an elevator to get us up to the next area. We got a Wilted Dusk Herb that's just going to restore lots of spell uses for you. And last but not least, if you use a Pharaoh's Lockstone right here, the wall will open up behind you and you'll have another chest to open. In this chest, we're going to get another Soul Vessel. I've talked about it earlier in my playthrough. Soul Vessels just used to respec your character. And this right here, pretty random. I honestly don't know why it's even here, but it's a shortcut, like a one-way shortcut, and it'll drop you out on the bridge that is right, like you can get to Macduff's workshop, or you can get to the tower where Lucatiel was, you can get to the entrance to the Ruined Sentinels boss fight. So if I kind of look to the side here, you can see down there the tower where Lucatiel would be, and yeah, it's kind of weird, like you can't climb back up here, so I really just don't know what the point of it is, but I figured I'd go up there since someone in the comments would wonder why I didn't go up the ladder if I didn't, I'm sure. But anyways, heading back down, we are going to finally progress and go up that kind of cage elevator, and it's going to drop us off right where we ended the Ruined Sentinels episode. So this is what I was talking about when I say kind of the back entrance of the Lost Bastille. You can get to the same point two different ways, depending on whether or not you fight the Ruined Sentinels. That item right there that you saw halfway up is a bonfire aesthetic. You have to drop down on Homeward Bone or die to get out of there, so I'm not going to bother with it, but if you want it, there it is. Get a Skeptic Spice. Now, I'm not sure if I explained this yet in this playthrough. I definitely do when we encounter the NPC that you actually need to use these, but what they do is it lowers the requirement by either intelligence, or for either intelligence or faith by 1 for a chosen spell. So the Skeptic's Spice actually affects your faith, and the Simpleton Spice affects intelligence. So there's an NPC in the Iron Keep very early on. You can give these to him and choose the spell you want, and it'll lower the stat requirements for it. So for instance, if I wanted to use Sunlight Blade, it requires 36 faith, and I gave him 16 Skeptic's Spices, it would lower the requirement for it down to 20 faith. So that's basically how it works. Same thing for any normal sorceries that require intellect, but very, very good item, honestly. Now when you come out here, you got quite a few of these exploding guys to deal with. Once again, you can actually hit them through the jars. You don't have to break them first, as I think I do with this one right here. Just looking for him. He's in the large one in the middle. There you go. Killed him through it. Now if we pull this lever here, it's actually going to take us onto the area where we will fight today's boss. So out here, immediately off to the right, there's going to be a Royal Swordsman. If you take him out, you can get to the treasure that's right behind him. Pretty basic, but 8 life gems, definitely worth picking up. Just kind of a nice little thing to have. Now there's going to be a single crossbowman up there shooting flaming bolts, which are going to blow up these explosive barrels on the side of the bridge. So make sure you cross the bridge pretty fast and then take out this guy. The crossbowman shouldn't be able to hit you if you're close enough to this fog here. Now once you're inside, this is Sinner's Rise, the domain of the next boss we're going to fight. As I'm climbing up here to go take out the crossbowman, he actually jumps down to try to flank me from behind. So while he's doing that, go ahead and light the bonfire and enjoy the gargoyle show off in the distance. And then he's going to come up right behind me. Not sure how that didn't hit him. Now at this point, I'm actually going to go back and pick up a key that I picked up in my Ruined Sentinels episode. It's called the Bastille Key, and it's going to make this boss fight a lot easier. It's going to make getting to the boss a lot easier, and I actually just didn't grab it on this character. But if you don't have it for some reason, you want to fast travel to the Servants' Quarters bonfire. You'll only have it if you actually fought and killed the Ruined Sentinels. It's the bonfire located right after them. So once you make it to this bonfire, it's actually really easy to get to this particular item. You want to just run the path that I'm taking here, open this door, and it's just going to be located on the bridge right in front of us. So if you run all the way down the left side of it and smash some of these barrels, it's going to be the last thing, just barely hanging over the edge. There you go, the Bastille Key. If you take too long, this guy's going to run up behind you and probably hit you off of that ledge. So you can take in the scenery right after you kill him. But with that, we're going to go right back to the Sinner's Rise. Now that we're here, we're going to take out this crossbowman once again and then progress down this ladder like we were doing before. So at the very end here, off to the left, there's going to be one guy with a crossbow. Usually, if you have a better weapon than the dagger, you can actually just knock him off the edge. It's pretty easy to do, but I do have the dagger, so that's not going to happen. One melee soldier will come out of this room in front of us, and the room actually has 3 guys in it, including him. The other 2 have crossbows, and they're sitting in the back trying to snipe you. So I recommend taking this guy out first for sure, and then if the melee guy comes out, kill him. Otherwise, run all the way to the back and try to take out the backmost crossbow user. I find that to be the easiest, and then this guy will usually put away his crossbow and fight you with his sword, making it a bit easier on you. If you try to fight this one first, the other one will keep hitting you with a crossbow, so it's not fun. Now, you want to go down this giant elevator. If you die in this boss fight, you have to go down this again. You can just hit that lever at the top. It'll bring the elevator back up. You see that item down there that you can hop down to get? It's like blood or bleed-inducing throwing knives or something. I really wouldn't even bother with it. Go ahead and use a human effigy though if you haven't, and you can get Lucatiel's summon sign right there. Now she is helpful for the boss, don't get me wrong, but I actually prefer to use her just for this first enemy right here. Now I don't know why they did it, but FromSoft went ahead and put a Flexile Sentry right here. So I like to just retreat up the staircase, he can't follow you, and I just let Lucatiel kind of handle this fight. Now if you have some ranged attacks like I do, it makes this fight much easier, but he hits just as hard as the boss. He has just as much health, if not more. I think he actually does have more. But Lucatiel has tons of health too, so she can tank this fight for you. And if you're using a melee weapon, just kind of keep like doing jumping attacks when he comes into the doorway. Just poke him every now and then. I mean, you can fight him normally, but you're going to have reduced mobility in the water. So it's going to make this fight kind of tough. Now, again, I don't know why they did it. Like, if it makes sense for him to be down here, lore-wise, cool. I'm down, but if that's the case, it doesn't really make sense for him to be a boss. And if the lore dictates that he should be a boss, it doesn't really make sense why he would be down here to me. So it's just weird. But anyways, right here you've got an illusory wall slightly to my left. Figure it out, man. There we go. Now here gonna be a bleed stone, good for infusing your weapon with bleed damage, and the Northern Ritual Band. What the Northern Ritual Band is going to do, it's pretty much just for casters like myself, but it's going to reduce your HP but increase spell uses. So basically just kind of increasing that kind of glass cannon playstyle that lots of sorcerers have. Now behind me there is actually one more item that I missed. I'll turn around and get it in here in just a moment. But moving on though, right after this, there's going to be tons of those exploding guys, alright? tons and tons of them. There's going to be one off to the right in the water here, but none off to the left. In New Game Plus, there will be a red phantom version of them off to the left, so be careful of that. So I like to take that one out and head up to the left here. Now they're all over this place. They're in pretty much all the cells down on the lower level. This room right here is empty. Not really sure why, but it is. Now this door right here you can open with the Bastille key. You get a fire seed, which is what is used in this game to upgrade your pyromancy flame, and there's a Haid Knight there. Passive unless you provoke him by swinging a sword at him. Lucatiel obviously had beef with this guy though, so she's going to take him out. Now I feel like he drops the Haid Spirit pretty much 100% of the time. The other ones in the game that use the Spirit, it's a chance drop, but I think I get it from this guy like every single time I kill him, I feel like. So you know, if you want it, you probably have a pretty good chance of getting it from this guy. Now, when you come through here, whether you have the key or not, I recommend running up this left side where I'm at right now. And oh, one of these guys followed me. And so you can avoid the water in the middle. When you do that, you drop down to this gate right in front of me, behind me now, right there, and you pull that lever and run through the gate as quickly as possible. If you just run through this area, lots of those exploding guys will be chasing you, so you really want to be quick about that. Make sure you run up the left side, because if you run through the middle, you're going to be slower and you're going to aggro more of them. But if you got the Bastille key, you can just open this door and avoid all of that entirely, which is really, really nice. Then the boss fight is just straight up ahead. Now before we go, I recommend, if you have a spare flame butterfly, light it and light this torch right here so you can come back to it if you need to. Now the reason we're going to do this is because a torch is actually going to be very beneficial for this boss fight. The room is actually very, very dark, and that means that one, the boss is hard to see, and two, you're going to have a really, really restricted range that you can actually lock on from. But if you have the Bastille key, again, coming in clutch, you can light up these like oil troughs, trails, trench, whatever, some T word, and it's actually going to light up the boss fight for you. Make sure you hit them on both sides. Both doors require the Bastille key to open. All you need is a torch to do it. I think you might be able to light it with a firebomb. I'm not entirely sure, but I've always used the torch, so count on that. I don't know if they ever go out, which is why I recommend lighting the torch at the beginning that we did, just in case, so that you don't actually have to use another flame butterfly or go back to bonfire to light the torch. And if you roll in that water back there, if you do like actually end up going back to the bonfire, if you roll in the water in the area behind us, the torch will go out obviously, so kind of tough. As you can see, Lost Sinner knocking out all the lights. Now if you lit the torches, they're still going to be on a little bit. You can see like in the back of this boss room how dark it actually is. Now especially for a caster where obviously lock on is going to help, you really want to have some decent range with it. Now the hardest part about this boss fight in my opinion is just the fact that she likes to backstep and really gain some distance every time she swings, so that just makes it kind of frustrating to get in damage, because you dodge all her attacks and then she just jumps away before you can get a hit. Not so much an issue if you're using a ranged attack like I am, but I mean it's still kind of frustrating, because if you mistime your cast, she's going to jump away and completely dodge it. Now as you can see, Lucatiel is just tanking this fight like an absolute champ, and is just really helpful in this area from the beginning all the way until the end, just as nothing else but a tank. She does some respectable damage, but that's just not the reason you have her here. It's to get the aggro off of you. And you saw there, she's hitting for 171. Actually more than I'm hitting with my Great Soul Arrows, interestingly enough. But there you go, that's the Lost Sinner fight. Pretty simple in my opinion in a new game, just regular new game. You get the Soul of Lost Sinner, you get a whole bunch of souls, Great Soul Embraced, so she is the first probably Great Soul boss you'll encounter. Now, I will mention right here, if you are a Pyromancer, you're going to want to do this again in New Game Plus. The way you do that is with a bonfire aesthetic. I don't happen to have one, but you burn it in the bonfire at the beginning of Sinner's Rise. It's going to respawn all the enemies in this area, including the boss, and all the items in New Game Plus difficulty. The items are still like just regular items, but anything that would be here in New Game Plus will be here that wasn't in New Game, and all the items will all the enemies will basically just have twice as much health and hit twice as hard. Basically, just the rule of thumb, and including the boss. Now, on top of that, the boss fight gets more complicated because there will be 2 red phantom pyromancers that will be harassing you in this boss fight. They'll both be casting at you, so you want to take both of them out first before you even attempt to fight the boss, because they're going to be hitting really hard. They can hit at range. They're just super annoying, but they're pretty squishy because they're pyromancers, they're casters. But the reason you want to do that if you're playing a pyromancer is because if you take her New Game Plus soul back to Strayed, you can either get the Chaos Blade, really good katana, or you can get Flame Weapon, a pyromancy that buffs your weapon with fire damage. So I mean, it's not required, but really, really good if you're going for that kind of build. And pretty much anytime I use a pyromancer, if I have a melee option as well, which I always do, I like to buff it with fire. And it's the only thing that's not really consumable. Obviously, you use it, you like cast it, you'll have to refresh it with herbs or resting at a bonfire, but it's not like a consumable item that you have to buy more of, right? So very, very helpful. Highly recommend doing that if you're playing a pyromancer. Moving on though, if you open the doors at the back of the Lost Sinner boss fight, off to the left there will be one chest. One last thing for you to grab before you get out of here. You get the Fragrant Branch of Yore and an Elizabeth Mushroom. And this right here is going to be a primal bonfire, seeing as it is located after one of the Great Soul bosses. It says a primal bonfire is rekindled, and instead of resting, you just return to the far fires. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Hopefully that helped you with the Lost Sinner and Sinner's Rise, back half of Lost Bastille, all that. And as promised, I'll have 2 more uploads going up today. So until that happens, guys, thank you for watching. Have a good one.